Hola. I was trying to experiment here with something. I'm on my phone. I'm recording from my phone. Everything's different now. Don't really want to be in front of the computer much. And a lot is happening that I know I want to share. But I'm just going to start it with what I've been doing, which is being with myself and practicing patience, practicing surrender, practicing letting go. And it's been a really interesting time. I try to compare it to, this time last year. By the way, today is December 24th, 2022. Good night. Noche buena. Been out of the celebrations of the Matrix for a very long time, but I acknowledge the time that it is. And we're in winter solstice, and this is a very powerful one to be in. So many people are waking up, are awake, and are doing what they need to do to change the world. They're knowing what it is, what it takes. It's really, I wanted to say that it's not complicated, but, we are complex beings, and that's just our nature. But the solution is not complex. The more you get to know yourself, who you are, and what you come from, the easier life will be when you acknowledge the truth of who you are. And this is not about what you believe. This is about what you know. The era of believing is over. People have been made to believe a lot of things. This is why all of the confusion and all the language and all the words and everything that's going on is really bringing people back to being silent, being quiet. And one of the things that Neo the bunny has really shown me has been just really being quiet and silent and listening to, because it's never really super quiet when you stop the chatter. You just start hearing, the sounds that are around you and the vibration that's around you, and you are left to be with yourself. So I will say that this time in 2022 has been a lot different. And of course, it's always going to change and it's always going to be different. But in the sense of the feeling of the things that are happening and the messages that I receive on the daily, consistently, about what's happening and what I need to do, it's been an experience that I can't really put into words. But what I do know is that it's nothing to, like if I tell you, it's just you're hearing a story. You're hearing my story. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and I could express it. And where I am now is just, I'm expressing it just by being. Because it's not a time to, the storytelling, it is wonderful. It is important, but everything has its place. And right now, it's time for you to tell your story to yourself. Like really take the time and get to know yourself. Talk to yourself about who you are, why you are this you that you are. And if you want to change it, you want to make it something different, then it begins with that, with asking the questions and being accountable, assessing yourself. And you're not doing it alone. You never do it alone. You're never alone. Like, you are a direct extension of the All, Yahweh, Most High, Dios, whatever you want to call that life force, energy, everything, that is you. And I know that in all of these years of just talking, I know it's important to document. And so that's why I'm doing it. You know, it's funny because I was trying to play the Master Vibe theme song, but I'm doing it from my phone. So it's not really working from my phone like this. And Solution's not here. I wasn't really planning on doing this, but I came in and I opened a metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. And, every time that I open it, it takes me to where I'm supposed to be in it. It gives me a confirmation, and it's just really trippy. And I know that they did it. They had a scientific way of doing this, writing this metaphysical interpretation of the Bible so that it can make sense all the time that you look at it. And it really, really works. So if you guys are inside of the Master Vibration 13 private study of yourself group, go inside the private alliance, inside of the study group, the private study group, and click on the tab. Well, this broadcast is going to be on the just our healing sessions, but go to the Metaphysical Bible study, click on there, and then just click on the book, and you can open up the book to the page that I'm going to read. I'm going to read this book, but I'm going to go back into kind of what's been happening and what could be expected energetically, because everybody's saying something and about what's going on. And what really matters is what's going on in your world, what's going on inside of you, what's going on in your mind. There's nothing more important than that. And what you're giving your energy to is what's creating your reality. So this is not time to be having your head filled with other people's ideas. This is about you. This is about your awareness of yourself and your connection with the All. So you can go into Master Vibration 13. If you are not part of the private study group, this is a private call, a private session for the private study of yourself at mastervibration13.com. And I kind of giggle when I say that because, as much as we try to keep things private, we know that everything is what it's supposed to be. And, some things, especially when you're using devices such as recording devices on the internet, con permiso. Recording devices on the internet equals that's not private. So if you really want to be private, you're not using any kind of technology and you are speaking to people face to face in a location where you are surely to have privacy. And that's really the only way to privacy in terms of, people listening to our conversations. Check this out. It's the bunny. He's snoring. He's so smart. It's like he heard me say that, and then all of a sudden he stopped. And I don't know if it was a snore or just a kind of a purr. Nothing? He's giving me nothing. Okay. So if you're in the private study group, you can go into that tab, Metaphysical Interpretation of the Bible study. and go in there, click on the Bible, and you will be able to get the PDF of the book. If you want to purchase the book, it's quite pricey. So we made sure, well, Most High made sure that it was in divine order to be placed in this space of Master Vibration 13. So that is most appreciated. So today I just came in here and I turned to page 160. And on page 160, I find this. This is on the second paragraph of page 160. Isaiah 5:9, verse 6 through 8. Neither shall they cover themselves with their works. Their works are works of iniquity, and the act of violence is in their hands. Their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed innocent blood. Their thoughts are thoughts of iniquity. Wasting and destruction are in their path. The way of peace they know not, and there is no judgment in their goings. They have made themselves crooked paths. Whosoever goeth therein shall not know peace. Isaiah continues to depict the karmic returns for which we are individually and collectively responsible, as they are the sum of our acts, thoughts, and actions towards one another, towards life, and our natural surroundings. Divine justice will be rendered at that point in time, and no one will be able to hide behind the facades they deem impenetrable in this world. Jesus reiterated this fact when he said, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." It will be the moment when the universe will determine what we have done. It will weigh our transition with what it has found. Perhaps it is time to ask ourselves whether we travel a higher spiritual path or live in the lower realm to which we may become accustomed and helped create. Again, we must be true to ourselves, accepting responsibility for our thoughts and actions without the excuses, the blame game. It will happen in the twinkling of an eye, and we will not be able to deny our deeds. It will appear that those who are clean and free of the bonds of physical life will have an easier time of it, more so than those who will attempt to justify their behavior. Before I move on to the next verse, let me just say that blame game is something that is a program that people have all over the world. But I'm definitely going to speak to this country because it's been programmed in the DNA of the people to blame something outside of themselves for their circumstances, blaming him or her, mom or dad, this or that. It's always outside, and people are not taught, they're not encouraged to take accountability for their life circumstance. People are always given a bad guy. And the bad guys, it's always somebody, oh, yep. And it's so easy to, make it about somebody else and to blame somebody else. And there's no time for that anymore. This is not that time anymore. This is that time to assess ourselves. And this is not about, going to people and being like, oh, yes, this is, me and what I did. And, your confession is your communication with the all, with Most High, if you feel like you have to speak to somebody and ask for forgiveness or forgive or whatever it is that you feel that you need to do that. But this is deeper than just somebody outside or somebody else. This is about you knowing why you do what you do and being able to forgive yourself for the things that you've done. Forgive yourself. And in forgiving yourself, You're able to forgive everybody else, and it just pours out of you. It's not anything that, it's really not anything that has to be spoken. It is felt. It is your vibration. I'm moving on to page 161. In verse 7, we are told that their feet run to evil. In this sense, evil is representing the material environment that has engendered death and violence, as well as the practice of physical pleasures, all without concerns for the consequences. As a global society, this is not the direction toward which we are all heading. Wait, let me go back. As a global society, is this not the direction toward which we are all heading? Those who have turned their backs on the higher levels of consciousness have taken to the pursuit of evil in various degrees and ways, chasing the illusions of material gains. I'm going to read that one again. Those who have turned their backs on the higher levels of consciousness have taken to the pursuit of evil in various degrees and ways, chasing the illusions of material gains. I think that we can all relate to that and what that means. In Isaiah's thoughts and words, it has been our downfall. They were repeated by the Master 700 years later, and we have not yet grasped the importance of their message, of that message. Further, I did a pause because the phone rang, and I'm not really sure where. Okay. Let me go back to, as a global society, is this not the direction toward which we are all heading? Those who have turned their backs on the higher levels of consciousness have taken to the pursuit of evil in various degrees and ways, chasing the illusion of material gains. In Isaiah's thoughts and words, it has been our downfall. They were repeated by the Master 700 years later, and we have not yet grasped the importance of that message. Further, as we explained earlier, we have become enamored with the sense system and do things for the sole sake of pleasure. When we add all this, it can only result in the death of the innocents at all stages of their development. This ordeal ranges from the obliteration of innocence itself to the emotional abuse of the young, and finally to the death of the innocent victims as collateral damage in senseless, violent acts of war. We cannot deny that this is now quite common in our world, and it is done by those who seek only power and wealth. This reminds me of, when I look at what's happening in the system now, we are in the midst of a complete downfall of an empire. Babylon is falling, and we're watching it fall. And so everything that I read in this book, I have an example of it in my real life, and seeing what is projected and what is being programmed to the minds and the eyes and the hearts of the people. And there's just been consistent abuse on this planet, that everything wicked and awful that you can imagine, it truly does exist somewhere. And you determine how close or how far you are from it by how you're vibrating and what you are believing. This is what it was. Everybody was operating on a belief system that was flawed and skewed and manipulated and just really jacked up. Everybody was running programs. Everybody is running programs. Let's say that. And now for the last 20 years, this process has been happening really loudly. And then as each year goes by, in the planetary realm at least, as each year goes by, it gets heavier and heavier and clearer and clearer and clearer. I mean, who was it that was This is the story of the age of Aquarius. That was in the 70s. They were singing that, talking about like this is really it's nothing. It's nothing new. But people have been so unplugged or plugged in that they forgot. They forgot what time it is. They forgot what's happening and what we have access to, what we've always had access to. But let me keep on going. And I'm trying to change my tone. I get loud. This is a built-in microphone, and I guess it's great. I guess I'll listen back to this one so I know how it sounds. I know when that little red thing is going, it's probably sounding all. All right. Okay. Hey, bunny. Oh, he's stretching. He looks so cute when he's stretching. Oh, and he does a little yawn. He got 4 little teeth. Mira qué lindo. Oh. I look at this bunny, and I'm just reminded of the miracle of what God is. Ache. The miracle of who we are, right? Because we are direct extensions of that force. We are direct reflections of that. The sun is the father, the moon is the mother, and all of that is us. Anyway, page 161. This is the second verse. The violence, death, and devastation depicted in these 3 verses are enough to send chills throughout our bodies. It is a prophecy that has become reality for centuries, and we see it today in the form of wars, crimes, terrorism, and famine in all parts of the world. Why does humankind behave in such a way when it should and could consider peaceful options? The problem is that these conflicts exist within each and every one of us. We may wish for peace as we argue with ourselves and others to make some point, but our self-created culture demands otherwise, resulting in confusion and frustration of the masses. We are being bombarded from all directions with news of wars and rumors of wars, one blaming the other, with no resolution in sight. Diplomacy is ineffective, and the olive branch has been replaced by more sophisticated weapons of death. Yet we are at the beginning of a period of change. The signs are all around us, and once it arrives, no one will be able to hide from it. We will all have to account for our lives and deeds, as stated so many times by the prophet. After all, we're the ones who pave the road upon which we journey. After I read that the first time, I was like, I have to share this with you guys, because this is what we've been talking about. This is what we've been talking about in the whole, what's it been like, 2016? About taking accountability for what is in our reality, what it is that we're existing in, about not doing the pity party. And, like if you do the pity party, that's fine, but you got to get over it. You have to transform that. And you have to find out, why are you having a pity party? Why are you so sad about your circumstances? You have to find out that why. Because you're the one that has to transform that. You're the one who has to use that energy and transform it to high beneficial energy. It is up to us to do that every time anything happens. But we were never taught that. We were taught to blame it on somebody else and to blame somebody for our circumstances and have pity parties, woe is me, and expect for everybody to give us stuff because, we've suffered so much. Somebody need to be giving me something, because I give to my family, I give to my husband, I give to my kids, I give to everybody. And where are they? Why ain't nobody giving me anything? Well, that's because you haven't given it to yourself. And people think that giving things to themselves is Well, I will say this. There are levels to everything. And yes, it could begin with pampering yourself physically, right? And then when you're doing it, when you're sitting there, getting your manicure and your pedicure, that gives you time to think about what is happening. That's a good time to think about what it is that you're receiving it and why you're doing it. Why are you giving yourself this pampering? Have you earned it? Do you deserve, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is a great time to really start, thinking about why you are taking action and why you are experiencing what you're experiencing. And it's really fun when you start to look at it like that and you start to see that everything in your reality was created by your thought patterns. The present is the residual of your past thoughts and actions. So every time you are receiving what you have poured out, what you have been vibrating. So when you look at something that's ugly, that thing that is ugly is that ugliness in you. And so why is it ugly? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. And this is a time for deep self-reflection. Like, I'm talking about a self-reflection that, we've had this time where, people were posting their deep healings and what they're doing on the internet and what, they're everything that they're going through, and a lot of purge, a lot of, all of that. And a lot of people have gotten attention for whatever they post or whatever they share, whatever they're in connection with somebody else, whatever they have in common. So it's like this big old giant social media trauma bonding that's been going on with people who just think like you or think like or agree with you. And then you follow that flow of just, and you kind of forget life and you start living in a space where it's just this one kind of energy because it's easy and it feels comfortable, but it's not really real. What's real is balance and being able to access all aspects of your being through your life all day long. Like, being outside in nature is part of our battery system. Like, you need Mother Earth, Father God. You need that. Every day, every single day, you need it. And what's happening in the world is they're wanting to, they're wanting to keep people more closed in and controlled. This is what is desired because they recognize that the power of Father, Mother, God is like, it's inevitable. Like, you can't run from it. You can't, the things that are happening in the world, it's time for them to happen. And it's just so important for us to realize the role that we play in this change that is happening. Everybody's going to have a different experience according to what they're vibrating. And everybody is going to have exactly what they desire, exactly what they've earned. Because, see, desire is not just, I desire good things. So that's just what I desire. And I could say that. That sounds nice. That sounds good. I desire good things. All I want is things that I desire. I can say that. But if my body, if my mind and my heart is not vibrating what it is that I think that I'm desiring, then I'm not going to get it. Because what manifests is what is that's coming from your mind and your heart, that frequency, that vibration, and that desire because the word desire sounds so cool, desire can also mean that your body, your mind, and your spirit and your heart is just so low in the place of low vibration that desire becomes this low vibrational force that is as powerful as the high. So having the feeling of it and recognizing that the feeling of it is the most important thing makes it a lot easier to navigate this realm, because you don't have to confuse things with language. You don't have to, there's so many words that are scrambled and jumbled and so many different meanings. This is why it's important that when you meditate, go to a sound that is not a word. And Om is a great place to start with that. And it's very powerful. Om. When you make that sound, you are feeling the vibration of the planet. You are aligning with the planet as you make that sound. And the more you do it, the more you will feel the vibration. You hear it. You hear the vibration coming out through your ears as you do it. And so if you allow yourself to just sit in that moment with that sound, you can trust that the healing is going to take place. It wasn't meant to be super complicated. And when we watch animals and we see how they live, we could really learn a lot from them. They really trust God. Like, they know their instincts are just fantastic. And I mean, yes, animals get ate, animals get run over, things happen, life happens, but that doesn't stop the experience from happening. You know, an animal is not, they're cautious and they're aware, but they're not scary like people. We're not supposed to be scary. We're supposed to be cautious. We're supposed to be aware. We're supposed to be alert. But scared, you know, that's a system that was taught, a program that was taught for people to have this scariness. And not to say that you don't experience these times where fear overtakes you. What is it that they say is fear? False evidence appearing real. It's always that. Because you always got to bring yourself back to the moment and what it is and where you are. And a lot of times people are expressing this fear based on something that's not even here yet. Something of the future, not recognizing that fear and the energy that comes from your lower chakras and that's creating this fear and supporting it is creating more of it. And so it's going to create things in your experience to be afraid of. That's you doing that. We do that. And it's not about blaming yourself or being mad at yourself for the things that you've created in your life. It's about recognizing that you came onto this realm to have an experience so that you can further yourself, so that you can evolve yourself. And there is nothing that you've ever done that's unforgivable. And if that's so, then that's up to you and Most High. That's something that, you know, no one will judge you for it, or nobody should. I wanted to talk to you guys about another book that I've been diving into. I think I told you guys about this before, but I want to go into this. And in future sessions, this is just going to be on a metaphysical, or maybe I'll just do it different, because it's going to be a whole different section, and I'll add it on there, and it'll be specifically for the Kybalion, Hermetic philosophy. But today I'm just kind of ranting with you guys, talking about just talking about what's happening and saying what needs to be said in this moment. But I did finish before I close this one up, yes, because we ended on, we are the ones who pave the road upon which we journey. And I really do hope that you understand that. I was reading it's like sometimes, I come in here and I get pulled to something, because a lot of people, I guess they wonder if I have, the practice that I have, my spiritual practice is very much designed by me, for me. And it is something that I've allowed myself to just do what it is that I'm inspired to do, because I had a lot of trauma. It's not so much even trauma. I had an idea of, there's certain things that trigger me. And so, like, when I look at religion in the way that it was in the old world, the way that I was raised in the religion the religious doctrines that have existed, they all had this, you come together, everybody's praying together, doing the same thing, doing this at this time and praying. And it's just like this repetitious thing that I'm like, all right, I get it. And I understand exactly what it is now, but I also recognize the importance of balance and being able to be spontaneous in your life and do things that work for you, because you have a way of communicating with the Most High on your own, and this is not something that is taught in those old, religious doctrines. This is something that's just completely, for me, it was something that I found looking within. When I started looking within, I started getting all the information that I needed so that I can continue to go forward. And I continue to trust that. So I trust it all the time. And it can get dark. It can get really, really dark. But when you remember that you were the light in your own darkness, it makes it a lot easier to come out of that hell that you put yourself into. And I'm an expert at that. I could take myself to hell in a second. But I've learned how to bring myself back even faster. And so I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of going into the darkness and seeing, what's in there. There's always going to be new things. This idea that we have of a healing being done it's ongoing. It goes on and on. So much has been done in this world that it's just something that we have to undo and bring back to balance. The pendulum swings, both ways. So it's time for that pendulum to swing back to the benefit of us. And we have to redirect a lot of things, is what I would like to say. There's a lot of things that have been really wrong with the world, like the limited amount of people that have written books and have documented things, and how people are idolized and people are treated over their gifts and successes, overly praised. Those things are crazy. Like when everything is the prize and everything is, you have this constant carrot, and it causes anxiety, because people are always feeling like they got to get something. They got to win a prize. They got to win. And it's like when you recognize that you can never lose, like, that you're always winning. So like, there's no hurry. Like, you could chill and enjoy your life. Like every aspect of your life, like every breath and every nuance, like every little thing that happens, you could reflect in that. And, I know that I can sound like a cornball sometimes when I get to this, but when you really start thinking about what matters to you, and this is in the space that I'm coming from, what matters to me, and what matters to me and the things that make me happy are not necessarily the same things that make another person happy. And this whole thing about, I just have to address this, okay? Like, the tree huggers, do you know that they have made fun of tree huggers for a reason, for a purpose of being like not wanting to be labeled a weirdo or whatever? People are naturally attracted to trees for the reason of is a healing source. It's like when you plug in, people that got electric cars, or just when you got to gas up. You know what I'm saying? That's what trees are for humans. So I'm just going to say that. And going back, because I still remember my place, going back to the tradition of old religions, that made me lean more towards being really free in the way that I practice my spirituality. Because once I recognize that I'm more than just one thing, I'm more than just a melanated being here on this planet here now, I've been everything. I am everything. So, everything is to be experienced by me in little bits. And right now it's at this time in this space. And the cool thing is that I'm able to Sankofa. I'm able to go on to past lives and get things from there and bring them on to this time and space and benefit from that energy. That's only happening right now. A lot of us have waited a really, 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 really long time to be here and experience this craziness that we are experiencing. The planet is shifting. The world is changing now. I remember last year we kept talking about what's coming, and this is coming, and this is coming. And now it's like, no, this is here now. All of it is here now. All of it. Your benefit and your detriment. It's all here now. And it's up to you to decide where are you staying? Where are you living? Where are you existing? And so in my walk, I've been introduced to a lot of things, and a lot of things have come, quite organically. And I always value that, because this is the way that Spirit and God talks to me. When I'm supposed to have something, I check for it 3 times. On the 3rd time, I know that that's my sign. And I switch my signs. My signs switch all the time. It just depends on where you are and what you're feeling. And what you know to do, and not thinking that whatever you do, or not being scared of doing something and being quote unquote wrong. And a lot of people have taken that information and have, they have really made it really bad. Like they twisted it, and they made it like, oh, so you could just do whatever you want and it doesn't matter, because, it's life and we're eternal and we just keep coming back anyway. So, they've taken it and they made it really bad. Like karma is real, cause and effect is real. All of these things, they're real. And it's really powerful for us to have this information, because it helps us live our lives a whole lot easier. So the Kybalion was introduced to me this summer, or this spring. And when I started getting into it, I was like, it's so funny, because this little, where am I? Okay, I'm good. It's this little black book. And it is, I'm just going to do a bit of the introduction today, so that y'all can see where I'm going with this and what it means. The one that I have is the Kybalion Centenary Edition, a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece by the 3 initiates. The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding. A Tarcher Purgy book. I got this one, and I also got the Emerald Tablets, and I think it was another one. And I'm going to touch on that. Okay, we're 42 minutes, and I'm not going to take your time too much today. But I want to give you the context of this book. It's Introduction to the Century, to the Centenary Edition, the Hermetic philosophy, the 7 Hermetic principles, 3, mental transmutation, 4, the all, 5, the mental universe, 6, the divine paradox, 7, the all in all, 8, the planes of correspondence. So when I first looked at this book, it felt familiar. It felt like, oh my goodness, these are things that I've vibrated, that I've reflected, and I didn't know what they were, because I had no idea what the Hermetic philosophy was, the Kybalion, Hermes Trismegistus, and I talked to you guys about it when I got into the book. But, and I talked about, doing the reading. Excuse me. Salud. I talked about doing the reading for y'all, but, things happened and it wasn't time until now. And I just have to say that it's something that, do you guys always sneeze 2 times? Because I always sneeze 2 times. Bunny, don't be scared, because I think I'm about to sneeze again, but maybe not. Okay. All right. Do you know that sneezing was known to be achoo, and Dios te bendiga, salud, is because you were rejecting or releasing spirits? Yeah, I can't remember where I got that from, but I got it from somewhere. Okay, so when I got the book, it just was like, this was actually something that when I got ordained, Minister Partlow is who referred me to this book. And it just made so much sense to just how I live my life and the things that I believe in my soul from my journey. And so what I want to share, I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the, I'm not going to do the introduction. Let me see, the Hermetic philosophy. Let me do that. Let me start there. I appreciate you guys being here and listening to this whenever you are listening. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start here because this is important too. I will do the introduction because this is important. It made sense to me when I read it. People grazing in metaphysical bookshops may have wondered about the mysterious volume called the Kybalion, written by the three initiates and first issued by the Yogi Publication Society of Chicago in 1908. The best-known edition is a plain volume bound in blue cloth and stamped with gold in a format like those of other books from the same publisher, including various works on yoga by one Swami Rama Sharaka. There's a lot of kakas. Okay. The Kybalion claims to be a brief introduction to a mystical tradition that has survived from antiquity. The core of the work is a series of aphorisms which the authors contend go back to the early days and were passed on from the teacher to the student. The exact signification and meaning of the terms having been lost for several centuries. I think that made sense, right? I'm going to say that again. The word Kybalion taken at face value looks vaguely... The exact signification and meaning of the terms have been lost for several centuries. That was the end of that sentence. The word Kybalion taken at face value looks vaguely Greek, but it has no meaning in that language. The closest word to it in the standard Greek lexicon, curiously, is kaibeia, meaning dice game. It is also tempting to connect this word with the Jewish mystical tradition known as the Kabbalah or Kabbalah, especially given that early modern occult texts, such as 17th century English translation of Cornelius Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy, sometimes use a Hebrew word for Kabbalist, Mekubal. See, this is why I don't like reading books out loud to people, because it's like if you're not reading it in front of you and you're not seeing the words, I'm sitting here mumbling and jumbling, and then you lose the whole flow of what it is, and you lose it. But I'm just trying to get to the good stuff. Okay, here we go. But the Kabbalah is never mentioned in the Kybalion. So the Kabbalah, this is not Jewish mysticism like the Kabbalah. This is not the Kabbalah is not mentioned in the Kybalion. Some people, they'll have a different way of saying it. The Kabbalah is never mentioned in the Kybalion. Rather, it presents itself as the essence of the teaching of Hermes Trismegistus, thrice greatest Hermes, a legendary semi-divine figure who is said to have brought learning to Egypt in the remotest past. Hermes Trismegistus is often identified with both the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth, which I thought was very interesting. The Kybalion is organized according to 7 basic principles, which it says form the basis of occult philosophy. Number 1, mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. 2, correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. Number 3, vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Number 4, polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Number 5, rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. Number 6, cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. The origins of this book have mystified many. And I'm just going to stop it right there because I put in the whole book in the metaphysical, inside of the private alliance at Master Vibration 13, inside of the group. I put the audio of this book. Please listen to it. Please check it out and allow it to be absorbed within you, because this book is what was used to write all of the books that were written. This book was before the Bible itself. So it's very interesting how this book came to my experience at this time so that I can have a greater understanding of all of these things that I am remembering. So it's been a really powerful experience for me. But I also know that everything is not for everybody. And, sometimes, like right now, you can get this information now and you might not ever look at the information ever. Or maybe you'll look at it like 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you'll do it right away. It just depends on where you are and how the information moves you, literally. So he's just so cute. The bunny, he gets in these cute little positions of rest and comfort that just make me feel so proud and happy that I've been able to give him a place where he could feel comfortable. Okay, so I wanted to read you guys something from the Emerald Tablets of Hermes. The Emerald Tablets of Hermes was really interesting too, because what it talks about is how the truth. Okay, so I'm going to give you the one from, let me see. I'll read the first one. This book just has all of the different translations of the Emerald Tablets. And so on this one, I'll open up to this one because this was already on this page, 22. Okay, the truth. This is Emerald Tablets of Hermes from Idris Shah. Number 1, the truth, certainty, truest without untruth. What is above is like what is below. What is below is like what is above. The miracle of unity is to be attained. Everything is formed from the contemplation of unity, and all things come about from unity by means of adaptation. Number 4, its parents are the sun and moon. Number 5, it was born by the wind and nurtured by the earth. Number 6, every wonder is from it. Number 6a, and its power is complete. Number 7, throw it upon earth. Number 7a, and earth will separate from fire the impalpable separated from the palpable. Number 8, through wisdom it rises slowly from the world to heaven. Then it descends to the world, combining the power of the upper and the lower. Number 9, thus you will have the illumination of all the world, and darkness will disappear. Number 10, this is the power of all strength. It overcomes that which is delicate and penetrates through solids. Number 11a, this was the means of the creation of the world. Number 12, and the future wonderful developments will be made, and this is the way. Number 13, I am Hermes, the threefold sage, so named because I hold the 3 elements of all wisdom. Number 14, and thus ends the revelation of the work of the sun. So in this book, you find all of the different tablets and what they said in all of these different times by all of these different people that are saying pretty much the same exact thing. And one thing that I found really interesting in this emerald tablets. And so what I'm reading, and I'll show you guys a book of this, is the Emerald Tablets of Hermes Trismegistus. So that's what the title is. And I got it on where everybody gets their stuff online. Okay, the stone is the okay. This is what it is. This part was really very interesting to me, and an interesting message that I've been getting about orgone energy batteries. Okay, where am I going to start? It is plain. This is a conversation. Hermes said the mother of metal is earth that carries in her. Okay, wait, let me go before that. Well, this is just what I want to get to. Okay. He whose father is the sun and whose mother is the moon will be carried before he is born by wind and vapor, just as a flying bird is carried by air, from the vapors of winds, which are nothing else but wind in motion. Water proceeds when condensed, and from that water mixed with earth. All minerals and metals arise. The substance carried by the wind is in chemical respect the sulfur which is carried in mercury. Lull says the stone is the fire carried in the belly of the air. In physical respect, it is the unborn child that will soon be born. To be clearer, all mercury is composed of vapors, that is to say, of water which the earth raises along with into the thin air, and of the earth, which is the air. Wait. I'm sorry, you guys. That wasn't the one. That started sounding like a whole bunch of stuff that I still wasn't getting to. What I wanted to get to was the part where they talked about. See, if I would have known that I was going to be talking to you today, and that I was going to be recording this, then I would have had this with highlighted. Okay, so I'm just going to paraphrase what it is that it said. It was talking about the healing power of the planet, and it was talking about how stones, crystals, are very powerful because they come from the heavens and they come down into the earth, and then when they are mined and they are used by the people, and they are exposed to the people, it is healing them and giving them the power of the heavens and the higher and the lower, and bringing it to the earth. And the metals are from the 7 planets, and these metals used in conjunction with the crystals are giving you like superpowers, like for real. And it is just something that through my practice, the last 13 years of practicing, this energy and working with orgone, I've seen the example of it. And I've seen it so much so and experienced it so much so that I realized for a long time now that people have to have their own experience with it. And it's not something that really should be marketed as, oh, and it's going to do this and that and da. It's like silence is golden. And when you allow a person to have their own experience with things, it's really super powerful. And it's the biggest gift that you can give somebody, just that ability to be able to see things for themselves. It's been a long time that we've been programmed to believe things that are just not true. And now that the truth is out, it's a good feeling to be able to absorb it in comfort and know that, you can't lose. You can't lose. This experience is for us to have an experience to the fullest capacity of what we want, of what we desire. But it's just time for us to, reflect on what it is that we really desire and change that to something that's going to be really beneficial to us, not something that we think it should be by what was told to us by somebody that doesn't like us, So that was my time today. I'll be sharing more of that in the future, in the days to come. This has been very weird for me, this experience of just being in this brand new stage of where I am and not doing what I used to do, redesigning my life according to what I want to experience and knowing who I am, this knowledge that I have about myself, exercising that, it's very fascinating. And the emotions are still all, they're there and they're very present. It's a matter of you being able to have a mastery of these emotions and not allowing these triggers to take you to a space that you'll linger in. You're going to go through what you go through and you're going to feel what you feel, but be the master of those emotions. Don't let them rule you, because they're just there to show you where you are. And it's not a bad thing. I appreciate your time today. I hope you're having the best time ever. I know a lot of people are just appreciating this time, being with loved ones and, disconnecting from the old ways and the old ideas of what this time was and recreating their own rituals and their own traditions with just the energy of this time and feeling it for what it is. So I hope you enjoy yours. I will be enjoying my winter solstice here with Neo the Bunny. Isn't that right, Neo? He's saying yes. He's speaking to me telepathically, and he says yes. Well, you guys have a great one. Hasta la próxima. Adios.